Our Enid High Observatory was built in about 1963, started in 63, 64. There was an astronomy teacher here who was a brand new teacher, like a first year teacher, and he applied for money from the government to get the funds to build the observatory and buy the telescope. And back then in the 60s, we were in the great space race with Russia. And so we wanted to make sure that we beat the Russians as far as space travel goes, because the Russians had already sent up satellites and put things in space, and we hadn't yet. And so all of that money was available to schools in order to further space education for kids. So that's why we got it. I don't really have a professional background in astronomy. I'm actually a life science major in college, but I minored in physical science, chemistry. And so most of what I've learned about astronomy I picked up on my own starting at about 8 or 9 years old. So I've been studying it for like a long time. More than 40 years just as an amateur astronomer. And kind of kept up with it that whole time. I kind of fell in love with it back when Neil Armstrong walked on the moon. I don't know if you can explain it. We were all just sitting there in awe. I mean, I remember I was 8 years old. I remember walking outside and looking up at the moon and trying to see Neil Armstrong on the moon and just imagining that there really were people up there standing there looking back at me. And so it was kind of awe-inspiring, really. I mean, nobody had ever seen anything like it before. And so, really my qualifications are having taught it at the high school level and the college level for about 17 years. So, I love it. We usually start out trying to everybody wants to know constellations. And so that's what I start out teaching. And it's important because constellations are roadmaps to the sky, if you will. There's only one way to tell where something is in the sky, and that's where it is in relation to a constellation. So it really helps to know the constellations. Then we move on to really the kind of the Earth and the Moon, how all that works, eclipses, lunar eclipses, and solar eclipses. And there's going to be a total solar eclipse coming up this August, but it won't be a total eclipse in Enid. It'll only be a total eclipse north of us, about Kansas City. It's going to come through Nebraska and Kansas City. So we talk about that a lot, and then we talk about the solar system, because it's important to study the other planets, because they can tell us a lot about our own planet, about Earth. So that's why we go into that. And then from there, we go into the life and death of stars and telescopes and some astronomy tools. We use our observatory quite often. We try to do it once a week. We try to get up there once a week, but the weather in Oklahoma is so unpredictable that it's going to be cloudy, that we don't get to do that. This semester, it's been really bad. But we've been up there a few times, and mostly we do it just for fun. Planets, are really good at seeing planets, so we do that a lot.